So guys, we don't do a lot of videos of technical nature because we generally would like to avoid liability and people doing silly things. So, but here is our preferred supplier. We use Amtron for a lot of our batteries. And we wanted to show you what a conversion on an E1 looks like. So this is a classic E1. This particular unit is about 8 years old. And I just wanted to show you what's coming out of it. So the Discover, the dry cell AGM batteries. These are the EV6 GTs. And just wanted to show you what is going in instead. So this is all the space that's been freed up from the original. Only 2 batteries are needed instead of the 8 we have currently. The batteries that are going in are 48 volts lithiums. They're the lithium phosphates, so the safer of the bunch. Probably one of the best batteries that you can use for EV vehicles. Very, very careful when you do install these batteries. The E1s can draw 350 to 400 amps. So very, very careful when you're selecting batteries that they can do that level of discharge. Please do not reuse the factory Discover charger. Very, very, very important because it's set up at the moment for lead acid batteries. So when we do our kits, we do it as a whole kit. This is the new lithium charger that we're using from Amtron. Also, you can no longer use the standard battery meter on the dash. That's another thing to note. It won't work. It won't give you an accurate reading. So this particular unit is one of their latest monitors. We will mount it right next to the original speedometer. It's got a shunt in it, so basically measures the amount of flow of electrons to some extent in a simple terms, and then gets the readout on the particular display. It's also got a Bluetooth monitor as well. So you will require some additional wiring as well, because a lot of the factory wiring, because of so many batteries, was very, very little. Now with only having 2 batteries, you'll have much bigger runs of cabling. Very, very, very important is these machines run a 0 gauge, very, very thick wire, huge amount of ability to transfer current safely without heating up. Do not be tempted to use starter motor battery wiring of sorts. Please make sure that you get the correct stuff. You'll need a very heavy crimping tool, which enables you to do crimps of this particular size. So yeah, that's very, very important. Now, a big thing about this, what changes, you say you put a 200 amp hour lithium, you're able to use so much more of that 200 amp hour lithium. With AGM or flooded batteries, if it says 250 on the box, amp hour capacity, your best case use case is probably only 20 to 30% of that. So 50 amp hours out of a 250 battery, maybe 60 amp hours out of a 250 amp hour is the best case. Whereas with a lithium, if it says 150 on the tin, you probably get about 120, 130 of it as a use case. The other thing is the Discover EV6 GTs are rated at approximately, call it say, 350 to 600 cycles if you look at their literature. Whereas the Amtron batteries are rated at close to say 3,000 to 5,000 cycles. Now, for a lot of customers, that's not going to make any difference at all. But where you're going to have an issue is if you're a commercial contractor, you charge the battery pack every single day. The Discoveries will give you 2 to 3 years worth of cycles at the most, because you're cycling 52 times, so 360 times a year, and you'll get 300 to 500 cycles. So you might get 2 years worth. With having 3,000 to 5,000 cycles in a particular battery, you are able to get years worth. You're not necessarily going to get it because the battery does degrade naturally as well, but 5 years is a very, very solid assumption that you're going to get out of this pack. Now make sure that the person doing the job is qualified. We have seen 1 or 2 really bad cases where customers have mixed chemistries between the lithium batteries. So had one battery of one chemistry, one battery of another. We've seen another customer that didn't change the parameters in their factory charger, ended up using the flooded lead acid battery settings to charge his lithium. Again, the outcomes were really poor, damaged the battery, And we've seen much more catastrophic cases with people mixing. We've seen a machine come in here, an E5, about 6 months ago, and had 1 lithium and 4 AGMs in the circuit. Can't mix chemistries, can't mix, even within lithium chemistries, you want to get a matching set. So if you're going to run 2 48-volt batteries, we're going to run these guys in parallel. So we're still staying 48 volts, but we're increasing the capacity of the battery. Also the ability for the discharge. So if when running in parallel, generally speaking, if you've got a 200 amp instant discharge rate with multiple batteries in parallel, that increases as well. Now you look at the manufacturer specs, please be careful. If you're going to be, for this machine, you can also use 224s, but then you have to run them in series. Again, this information here is just to show you how we do it. We're trying not to provide any technical information in nature that can later be used against us, saying that we wired it. So we just show you, always get somebody who's qualified to do the job. And who we find is really good, mechanics at commercial golf courses. They do a lot of conversion of their lead acid buggies into lithiums. They're fantastic to work, and we've worked with plenty in the past. But what we don't recommend is your average mechanics. They're not up to speed in your lithiums and your chemistries. So just be careful. Again, forklift mechanics are also very experienced because forklifts have run electrics for a long time. So yeah, just a few outcomes. You'll need a heavy duty crimping tool. You'll need 0 gauge wiring. You'll need a new battery monitor with a shank built in. You need a new charger. And then, as you can see, there's plenty. We've taken out 8 batteries. We've still got a full tray here free and a full tray there. Now, we could wire it to offset the driver to the opposite side of the driver, so to have 2 batteries both there and then have this empty. But then you need much longer runs of cable in here. With here, we're able to reuse one of the cables that came in. We'll need an additional one and 2 more smaller length. So don't forget, the 0 gauge wiring could be up to about $100 a meter. And having a wasted amount of it, there's resistances and things to consider as well. But having them spaced like this, you have to make sure that you're able to clamp the batteries down properly so they don't become a projectile. And yeah, we'll be taking this machine for a spin. Hopefully the total conversion we take is about 4.5, 5 hours. That's our billable time when we do it here. But yeah, hopefully you got some good information out of it. Please reach out to a Crossfire dealer. Then they can put you in the right direction of who's capable to do the conversion. Otherwise, reach out to Amtron if you're going to be doing the conversion yourself, but please make sure you're suitably qualified to do it.